All right, so now let me pass the time to Dickson.
Thank you, Maggie. Well, thank you for the patience. And right now, as Maggie reminded us, there will be refreshment after this. So we are the thing that standing between you and the refreshments. So we're going to try this, make it informative and hopefully inspiring from all these award winners' representatives. So firstly, as Lillian mentioned, that the government, the policy address, and actually with all of you have been indulging, diving into the BIM implementations for the past decade at least. And from the group here, I think maybe we'll start first with a question is, what do you think about DFMA and MIC trends in Hong Kong? And how could we introduce BIM to latest stage of building life cycle? So I'm going to first ask Mr. Ken and also Mr. ZHENG on this topic. Share your view.
Okay. So I think there will be more and more MIC and DFMA adoption for government projects. Because, as we all know, there's technical circular used by Development Bureau regarding the MIC adoption. For capital works project, existing total construction floor area about 30 meters square. So you can see that there's more and more building types. For example, construction of schools, staff quarters, and also for medical facilities and also hostel. It's a common type of building we can use MIC. Also, for facility upkeep of existing government building, we also have other DFMA introduction to the project. For example, for public toilet refurbishment project, we use DFMA in order to shorten the works duration and also to enhance building quality as well as to minimize the closure period of public toilet. So regarding the FM with BIM, so first of all, I think starting with the end in mind, it's important that FM team should formulate their BIM standard and also to have a clear defining of the access information requirement at an early stage, so that the access information model will be created according to the specification. One more point I would like to highlight is, it is just to create a BIM AM platform, so that which provide single source of information and enables the FM personnel to view the model, to collect the access information and document easily, to have a facility, effective facility management. One more point I would like to highlight is, it's also essential to have a workflow to maintain the BIM model. Otherwise, the LOIN of the model will be outdated. Okay, thank you.
Thank you. What about you, Mr. ZHENG?
I greatly agree with Cancer, because of course, in our policy, we have also led by our government departments that we can see that more and more MICs and under the concept of DFMA projects. And also we make big progress this year. And I think from the DFMA method, it can greatly, just give us a concept that integration, that we can integrate such like we can break the whole buildings into several parts with different function, so that in the whole project life cycle, in different stages, the thing is become integration, such like the design, we can, based on the integrated part, to undertake the whole design. And then, just like Cancer mentioned, and with the model acting maybe like a project information container, and the information could be passed to next stage, the construction, the operation, and the later stage, so that it can greatly save a lot of time in the coordination, of course, and the project later stage. So I think this is a great trend, I think our whole industry is doing a great job. Thank you.
So thank you both. On this topic, maybe just see if Simon or Billy have anything to add, because such as the isolation and the treatment facilities, or anything that actually right now with ArchSD, you guys also have embarked onto it. Maybe anything you want to supplement a little bit on that, Simon or Billy? Maybe go ahead, Simon. Yeah.
Okay, thank you. So I think DFMA and MIC is a very hot topic and a very general trend in Hong Kong industries, and our company is doing a lot of MIC projects now. So I don't need to repeat the benefit and value for that. But I see a very interesting question here. It is about how to use MIC and BIM in the later stage, such as FM, facility management. So that remember me of this morning, I was just in IKEA. So I, as a customer, I, as a user, what I'm looking at is, of course, the quality and the price of the IKEA cabinet. But I will also look for the information for the products, the product information. Do they have to provide me a good documentation about the user manual? So I will think for similarly using MIC. So I will see that the workflow should be BIM as an information container to contain all the MIC and prefabrication information into a BIM model. So throughout the whole life cycle, and then finally the user can get use of the information so that they can make a better use of the building. So I think that will be the true value of the user.
Billy?
I will talk in different dimensions. I will say increasing and decreasing. For the increasing, I think our industry, the skilled workers, is facing the aging challenge. In average, I got some figure. For the average skill level workers, it's more than 50 years old. So this will be the biggest coming challenge for us. And then maybe we can talk about this, how to attract the young generation later, okay? And at the same time, the salary is increasing. On the other hand, the buying power, we are reducing. Also the productivity because of the aging challenge. So to me, I think DFMA, I think the most important factor, we should focus on assembly. We have to find our way to find most of the assembly time offset from on-site to off-site. I think this is the most important thing. When we're doing a design, we should think about this. And about the facility management for BIM, I have some example. We are currently using a lot of AR to verify our as-built model. So when I talk to my client, at the beginning, client also asked me, why we're using this, what is the value? I give them example. So later, if you have anything need to do maintenance, if you got a accurate enough a site verification model, just look at using your AR, using your iPad, just go up, just align to the ceiling. You don't need to open any ceiling panel. You will know what's going on behind the ceiling panel. I think that's the beauty. And in the future, if we can create our maintenance order or the facility team for the works order, they can all manipulate using their mobile apps. I think that would be the greatest efficiency and benefits, the beauty of using BIM for facility management.
Great. Just writing up on what you both said about you have to quantify, and so maybe it's about KPIs. Nowadays, KPI is important, right? In terms of from the government perspective, from the chief executive. KPI, or maybe what Simon just said about a manual. So maybe for us, it's BIM manuals. So these maybe some of the aspect is about how to keep track of a good BIM project. So in terms of that, what are some good practices that we can keep track or make sure the project is on track? So maybe let's hear from Joel and then Will on that.
Okay, so for the project, first of all, actually I recall my memory like almost 20 years ago, my first project, my first BIM project. I remember at the moment I'm still not get used to how to track the model to make sure the model, the project quality. So looking backward, well now we understand that if you want to make good BIM project, you have very good planning. So as you have to build up a BIM matrix to measure all the requirements, such as the BIM quality. Even you can measure about the design maturity, as well as engineering analysis result, those kind of things. BIM match is very important because you keep tracking to see what's going on, especially the planning for different phases of the project. Because you know for the project in different phase, like design phase, you have different requirements. So in terms of the information and the data, so we can very well understand other phenomena of the tsunami effect of the data and information transmission. So we have to consider how to make use the exchange information requirement to well plan those kind of things to make sure the project deliverables. Yeah, this is what I have so far learned in the last 20 years.
Great, very snapshot of what happens in the past 20 years from you. Thank you for that. Then actually on that note, regarding making sure the model is on track in terms of the maturity, or most important, and just like what Ken was saying, it's about the information. You mentioned about LOIN. So with LOIN, and then you can then have a model that you can use during facility phase. So they really go hand in hand, right? So from Will, regarding that treatment plan project that you guys are responsible for, we have learned something about the BEP, the BIM menu, and all that as well. Any pointers from your side?
Yeah, I need to focus on the single source of truth. So this is what is very important for in the project aspects. So we need to find out the latest information, not only the model, but also the drawings and catalogs and submission, etc. So CDE provides just a platform for that purpose. So the point is we need to upload our resources to CDE for other people to access and understand what our design or the latest design. And this should be from the design stage and the construction stage, and keep it till to the end of the project. And the information flow is very important to make sure everybody is following the latest drawings or materials to facilitate the construction or facility management.
Great, thank you. And maybe we're going to go to the question, and I would like to hear from Tommy and Jim on that. Regarding keeping track, regarding collecting information, or even generating documentations or whatnot, what are some of the automation workflow, or maybe also you all mentioned about optimization workflow that you got from the projects that you guys have actually worked on? So for example, the Henderson, or for example, the welfare services complex. Please share with us.
So maybe let me share first. In my project at Henderson, we have come across some automation experience, such as the facade curves, because you can see our project, the profile is very curvy, and then the facade curve should follow the curvy path. And we first need to ensure the workmanship of the facade curve. At least they should not affect the GFA of the whole floor plan. So we try to modularize the facade curve, but in the very first stance, we should take notes about the inclination of the curves. And how should we do this? We try to use the automation method to calculate the incline path of the whole curve. And then after that, we get the modularize of the curve, but then we need to make it rationalized. Like we have 50 or 100 types of facade curves, and then how should we minimize the types of it so that they can be fabricated in the factory? So we come across a lot of study, and then from the programming to the really buildability study with our engineers, and then finally we work out with the type of facade curve which have been minimized by about 70%. So I think this is a very pleasing outcome, and I think that it is really a good insight for us to lead us forward to the new part of automation.
Sure, and maybe going to the Jim regarding the welfare services complex. Anything on this matter, or even if you anything that on that project you have also gone through some good practices to keep track of the project, since you guys win the Good Design Award as well. Yeah.
Some practices like Dynamo and API is the most common automation to complete the high repetitive works, such as joint generation. Also for the builders work opening, such as wall opening or slab opening, it reduces 1/3 of time to complete with manual way. In addition, Dynamo would help also the 4D phase planning, such as applying ID zoning and sequencing. For the 5D BIM, the automation can be further integrated with Power BI to generate concreting QTO and dashboard display for QS engineer and structural engineer to check the progress easily.
Well, just on that note, there is a lot of advanced approaches. There are many ways you can do to take advantage of the data, to also reduce the donkey work, as we would say it. So, and from here, as Billy mentioned, reducing about on-site laborers, but also what about the increasing of the demand for projects that need to use BIM? And from our team, Strategic Building Innovation, bimSCORE, we would say, well, yes, it's important we use the technology, but how is it helping the projects? And obviously now the government is mandating about using BIM, but also we also remember some of the Works Department also mentions about KPI, BIM KPI. These are all in technical circular. So for them, it's about what you're trying to achieve and how a BIM actually helping you. So in that process, we want to make sure that on existing staff, or you want to recruit new people, they are not just going to be going and stick with the old ways, right? Any challenges in getting the right people in or retaining your existing talents within your team. So maybe let's hear from us, maybe this time Billy first, and then we'll go to Simon. Yeah.
I think when you mention about retaining, I would say back to basic first, why we have to retain our people? Why not we are attracting them? So I would treat it in this way. I would always thinking how to retain them or attract them, what they will missing or what they are missing now. Okay, so to me, I think always people process technology. For people, I think they are always missing for training. When they go to the site, they may be new to the project, they don't got enough briefing, and what technology we are using, we should give them enough training to make sure they feel comfortable to utilize those technologies. And for the process, I think, to be honest, some project, because we are design build or design and build, we still have enough time and bandwidth to pick up the pace. But when design build as a contractor role, I have to say that we are running and delivering. Okay, so to forearm the people before they go to run the project is very challenging. So I would say the BIM should be always ahead of the construction. So we always call, say, pre-BIM, 事前 BIM or post-BIM, 事後 BIM. Okay, so I think for them, they want to gain some respect. People really want to help on the project. So I would say the BIM has to be run ahead of the schedule, such that we are really utilizing virtual design and construction. And for technology, also mentioned, Ken also mentioned about LYN. I will also think this is in two dimensions. One is a graphic, another one is information. How are we going to utilize the technology? Are we treat this BIM model, someone may call cartoon, someone may call animation, or it is a simulation. Simulation is doing engineering analysis. We are utilizing the information to optimize our design. We should treat BIM in this way. If people process technology, we are treating BIM in this way, I think everyone gain respect, and also we really utilize and bring the benefit to the industry. Yeah.
So people in it to get the respect, and
Yes.
by doing what they're doing are meaningful at the end of the day.
And we are optimizing the design. We are not just doing visualization. Yeah.
Great. On that note about people, and I think about 全民皆BIM, we just heard from Simon about that. And within the audience, I think Ada always say about 全民皆 BIM as well. So let's hear about how do they become the BIM soldier on that project.
Right, yeah. This is exactly what we are doing at 全民皆 BIM. So similar as what Billy has mentioned, so we bring the value of BIM to ask more engineer, more project team staff to use BIM. But we are still in a challenge. We still have a high demand of BIM and digitalization. So maybe perhaps we need to follow the policy address with 抢人才啊，抢人才 from other industry and from other discipline and even from other countries. So I think the opportunities here is in recent year. So in the recent economy, so we are looking for multi-talents, multidisciplinary, so similar as a fintech, medtech. So now we have contact. So we are looking for different ideas and different talents from different disciplines, different industry. So recently, we want to train up some staff from other industries. So for example, our team, we have some interior designer, we have some who used to work as a product engineer, and even this year, very special, we have some aircraft engineer joining our team. So I think the opportunity is we are bringing some new blood and some new ideas to stimulate our industry towards digitalization.
That's fantastic. We broaden our catchment pool. Don't limit, right? So don't limit. And secondly is don't retain, but if you let them shine, they would like to stay, right? Yeah. Oh, but then someone else may want to grab them, of course, if they're so good. Actually, on that note, Simon, I think within the team of SBI, we have team members that completely outside of this. He used to study film, and then he was working on cable TV, cable news. But then actually, this generation, they are so used to about visual graphics. If they can understand it, actually they understand, they can pick it up quite quickly. And that's definitely one way. So we don't limit we just don't whine about like we don't have enough people, but we change our strategy a little bit. And based on the momentum, I think from Autodesk starting with the annual awards in the past, and then also in the past few years, it's like CIC put a lot of momentum behind it, changing the identity of, as Billy was saying, give people respect, is have certification. That is changing the landscape in a sense. So that's what had happened in the past years or decade. And yes, I don't know if you have look up for the music video, right? What was it? Simon was in it. I think Benny was in it. I feel quite a few. Music video that's about BIM. If you Google YouTube, you'll find it, right? Yeah. So it was pretty excellent, actually, in front of the Zero Carbon Park. Where are we heading? So I think all of us, let's open to all of you. Where are we heading, and what are the trends that we should watch out for, in your opinion? Maybe we'll go with this order. Go ahead, Ken. Yeah.
So I think there is some roadmap we need to take care. For example, e-tendering with BIM. Due to the production of BIM, we need to take into consideration of whether how the BIM can be part of the contract, so that the tenderer can be just not based on 2D joint, it's based on the BIM information. Okay, the first one. The second one, we also need to look into the integration between BIM and GIS to develop BIM data repository and also common data, spatial data infrastructure. Yeah. This is to facilitate the geospatial data across different government departments, and also to have government to business application. The second one is that. And the third one, I think, is to have integration of 7D BIM with other innovative technology. For example, big data analytics, IoT application, and also AI, so that to support the predictive maintenance for facility management. Thank you.
Great, thank you. Mr. Zhang?
I think one of the things that I come up with in mind is we're actually putting more and more technologies inside the BIM and the whole industry. And I think maybe in the trending or in the future, maybe we need to focus on more about the language we use, such like we mentioned Open BIM, in the format that we can convey this information into every stage and without need to cost any more time in converting the information. So I think this is more important, such like we do the medical planning, and what we want to do is we have finally we have some model that it is ready for use in different kind of medical project, just maybe with a different function part. And the model could be format is ready for use and ready for production, so that can solve some problem that just give us a short time. So maybe I think that we can focus more on the communication into different stages. Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, that's actually from Ken and to Mr. Zhang we mentioned about CDE, we mentioned about CSDI. For those who may not know about this jargon, look it up. It's important. That's the future, yes. But then with the CSDI, with Open BIM and Open GIS, and basically we want to have cradle to cradle. You finish a project, you deposit it, you want to reuse it. I think that's basically it. You want to reuse the information, most important of all. So Jim, what's your thought?
Yeah, so here's another hot topic. The construction industry is moving to the smart construction and digitalization. The application of BIM can be integrated with smart systems such as DWSS, AI site monitoring, IoT, RFID, VR safety, digital twins, smart FM application, etc. These changes of BIM application leads us to have more digital, reliable, and professional outcomes.
Great, great, yeah. And Tommy?
Okay. Yes, thank you, Jim. And then I think the eternity goal must be smart city in Hong Kong. And then just like what CIC has stated, that in 2026, they will have 5 main goals, starting from BIM and digitization, like regarding on BIM, regarding on DWSS, regarding on digitization and training, and so on. And then I think that to fully adopt BIM with the aligned goal with CIC, I think the tendency of BIM now is targeting to the operation stage, just like what Mr. Ma has said. Just like 10 years ago, in the construction stage, there are a few stakeholders using BIM very sophisticatedly. And then now, 10 years later, we are leading forward to the operation stage, and we should come across the problem of how to map the data from construction stage to the operation stage, and how do we extract those data which are useful when we are going to do the operation and maintenance. So I think this will be the tendency.
Exactly, it's about the power of computing, and then also is the trajectory. Like you look back and you look forward. Something is about the Moore's law. Is right now a computer may be expensive, you think, or maybe expensive, but back then, and then 10 years from now, things will just get cheaper and cheaper and faster. I think that's basically we have to embrace that trend, but also we have to invest into software. The right software, rather than you will say, we'll go back to the old ways we do it. It maybe looks cheaper, but actually at the end you may have errors and all that. I think we just have to go back to not just the modeling now, it's about the information. Let's hear from Billy.
So just echo your computing power matters. I think like the recent policy address, it did mention all the compliance checks should start go for automation. I think we have to leverage the computing power. Every donkey works, we should think about a rule to generalize it and then teach computer to help us fix it. Okay. Hopefully later the BD approval, everything will go for digital. This is my hope. And ongoing, I think what we are doing now is we are, as I mentioned before, we are trying to utilize the model to optimize the design. We are using the secondary calculation result to see how the BIM, the design is performing, the KPI, the performance. And we should, like a MIC, DFMA, the module should become more and more efficient and lean design. So, and one more thing, I would say what we should watch out. Actually, my background is from manufacturing. Today we're talking about lean construction. Actually, many years ago, it's lean manufacturing. I would say one keyword we should aware of in the future. I would say now we are centralizing the coordination works. But one day, sooner or later, like metaverse, is future hopes, okay? So we should thinking about decentralized. What decentralized means, the coordination work should decentralize. And in manufacturing terms, we call concurrent design, concurrent engineering. This thing, we should think about this, then our MIC, DFMA can fly and running very fast. That's my comment.
Thank you. Joe?
Okay, so for me, I just want to using other aspect to look at this kind of thing. For the trend of the BIM, I think all the speaker mentioned a lot of insights, like what Tommy mentioned about the smart city kind of thing. But I think for the key person for those kind of thing, I think it's about the client and developer and government. Those actually, recently I read one article is talking about how a enterprise, how to further develop those kind of things for the digitalization, those kind of things. Actually, we talk over all the things about digitalization. So actually, they also have some award for the clients. Recently, we always talk about the green bond. We talk about the ESG, those kind of things. Also social liability. So those kind of things is accreditation for the client. So everyone, that's why I have the insight to looking how to use the enterprise to adopt with the digital. So that's why I think we have a lot of kind of practitioner working here, look at TICAD to see this, like what mentioned, how to digital all the things. So in other hand, we should also how to convince our client, then we can see our goal in the future, how to achieve those kind of things. This is one thing for the future.
Thank you, Joe. Simon?
Well, my thought is that BIM is now going to two directions. So first of all, it's about the management of data. So this is going to become more and more professional. So that's why we have international standard ISO 19650, and we have a Hong Kong standard. And on the other hand, for the BIM itself, the BIM users, we want to try to make it lower and lower the barrier. So we have cloud platform, we have AI, we have easy tools, automation tools, so that, for example, engineer can get the model easily and take the section just in a few clicks, or the quantity surveyors can get the quantity, get the schedule in just a few clicks. So I think these two trends. So BIM is bringing us infinite dimensions, infinite possibilities. So that's why we have 無盡邊際here. So ladies and gentlemen, so
Google that.
just Google
that.
that.
無盡邊際. That's the music video that he's plugging right now.
Yeah. So, but this is a general trend of BIM, I think.
Thank you, Simon. Will?
First of all, I would like to agree the Billy's point on the automation. So because there are lots of tedious works like modeling, and therefore we need to optimize this tedious work, or as you said, you mentioned that the donkey work. So first, so now we have scan to BIM. Maybe you will use point cloud to scan the environment and build it automatically to BIM. So this kind of automation need to keep goes on to reduce the human cost on the project. The second, the other thing is that the robotic, and now we are seeing getting more and more robots in the construction site, and we need to and as the BI model has all the information that the robotic needs. So we need to fit the information and combine with the robotic solutions to make better construction progress.
You would not believe it, what I'm about to say. I have thought about a really fun remarks to close this panel discussion. And what Will just said about robot, and it just aligned completely with what I'm about to say. All of you have watched Terminator, right? The first Terminator, 30-something years ago. Within the movie, they talk about Skynet. Skynet, and then they talk about the computational power of Skynet that can rule the world, and all human beings no longer exist. And then actually someone says, well, that calculation is equal to the latest NVIDIA graphics card. One graphics card equals to that calculation already when we thought about 30-something years ago. So now we just talk about looking back 10 years. We were only still struggling, maybe trying to get people on the BIM, but now we want to go more automation, smarter, smart city. So you may think that I can still wait for another 20 years. Maybe not. Things change really fast, everyone. So I think it's great to hear from these practitioners about their experience and also their vision for the future. And we hope this discussion will also inspire you all, inspire people around you, or convincing the client, right? Many of the contractors are convincing the client, yeah. But I think we have one here that, yeah, you should do it. Digital contract, model as legal document, all these. We, SBI, also work with a Development Bureau and Works Department. Indeed, the government is thinking about that. But what they worry may be also like, is your ecosystem ready? But obviously, these people are ready. So let's work hand in hand, go for the future, and we will leverage more of the technology and better tools from Autodesk. We can do that, okay? So thank you very much for your time. Thank you. Thank you all the panelists. Yeah, thank you.